Greetings metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I have another instalment of Heavy Relics for you where I'll be showing off 4 more of my latest vinyl acquisitions, all falling within the black metal subgenre. All 4 of these albums in fact are pretty freaking good actually. One of them I was already familiar with and the other ones I've been really impressed by. So kick off with the first album, which I recently acquired for very little money indeed. It's a band that I am familiar with, but to be honest, I've always overlooked them. I've read a lot of very high praising reviews of this band, and the 2 albums that I do have from this band, being Liberation and Revelations of the Black Flame, I think they're really good albums, really strong albums, but for some unknown reason, I always seem to overlook this band. I always seem to forget about it, or forget about them when I'm considering delving deeper into another black metal band. So the band in question is 1349 from Norway. I believe they're from Oslo, in fact. This is a bit of a stormer. I have to admit, this is a freaking good album. It's one that I probably still will listen to it a few more times, or many more times probably, but to just really get to grips with the album, because there's a lot going on here. Between each track, or song proper if you like, we get something, the Tunnel of Set, for instance. We kick off with Tunnel of Set 1, and then after this first proper track, Atomic Chapel, we get Tunnel 2, and so on and so forth throughout the album. And that is effectively like a little interlude piece, a little instrumental sort of atmospheric interlude. That said, it does really kind of help to almost bring the album together in this sort of theatrical sense. It has sort of a sense of and a sound of grandeur about it, which I think those instrumentals really do help to build. But just mention that first proper track there, Atomic Chapel. That is an absolute belter. That is a freaking great track. We've got all these sort of different elements going on there. It is very black metal, but it's really stark and it's got a really menacing, satanic darkness about it. And it really, really works, I have to say. So Atomic Chapel is a bit of a standout in my opinion, as is When I Was Flesh, which is a very sinister number indeed. Pandemonium War Bells is a bit of a longer track. That's freaking great as well. Get some killer riffs. The vocals are haunting and nasty, but the riff work is solid. I mean, the musicianship right across the board throughout the band is really solid. In fact, I'll just take that opportunity to show this shot from the middle of this lovely gatefold sleeve. Interesting. Very black metal in aesthetics and appearance. Very, very cool indeed. So this is a nice double album. It is just black vinyl, so I shan't show that off, but we do get some cool inner sleeves with lyrics and artwork on as well. So it is a nice package, I must admit, and I paid very little for this, as I mentioned. A few more highlights on this album for me personally include the title track Demon Noir, and also The Devil of the Deserts as well. Another good track. To be honest, start to finish, this is a good album. It's not overly long, I must admit. It's sort of less than 50 minutes, I believe, but it's a freaking good album. And I like the fact on the back here it says 1349 is oral hellfire. And it certainly is. And I do love that artwork as well. It's a great album, actually. A real surprise. And it's inspired me to delve a little bit deeper into the catalogue of 1349. So if you're not familiar with 1349, or you're not familiar with the Demon Noir album, then I would personally recommend checking out Atomic Chapel, When I Was Flesh, and Pandemonium War Bells. That will give you a pretty good idea about what this album is like. It's freaking good. Check it out, absolutely. I'm certainly going to be delving a little bit deeper, as I say, into their catalogue, because they're a winner, in my opinion. If you like very caustic, menacing and dark black metal, then you're certainly going to like them. So this second album then, this is the most recent studio album from an absolute supergroup. And I don't necessarily like to use that term, but you cannot deny that Aura Noir are an absolute supergroup. And this is their most recent album. I believe, yes, it's entitled Aura Noir. So it's almost self-titled, but noir as in with an E on the end. Anywho, this is a freaking great album. I love Aura Noir. I think they're a fantastic band, containing Aggressor, Apollyon, and Blasphemer, who between them they have been in most of the main influential Norwegian black metal bands, including Mayhem, Immortal, Dodheimsgard. They've got a good pedigree amongst them. Freaking great stuff. This album, I would say, is notably less thrash than some of their earlier albums or previous works, including albums like Black Thrash Attack or Dreams Like Deserts. Those were essentially just outright blackened thrash or thrashing black metal, whatever you want to call it. This takes a little bit of more melodic stance, if you like. This is leaning a little bit more towards this speed metal, heavy metal kind of end of the speed spectrum. Less of a thrasher, but still full of killer, cracking material. Amazing riffs, really, really catchy. We kick off the album with a track entitled Dark Lung of the Storm. Now that is an absolute ripper. Sounds freaking great. Got some killer riff work there. Vocals are really, really quite nasty. To be honest, it's that kind of throat shredding, rough, Lemmy-esque vocal style. However, there's a clarity there. You can hear the lyrics. It's not lost in the need to just be completely inaudible. Dark Lung of the Storm, killer grooves there. Grave Dweller, epic stuff. Really does remind me of the more sort of black and roll period of Dark Throne. That's what I'm getting through there. Hell's Lost Chambers, another great one. Demoniac Flow. Really memorable material, actually. That's what really stands out about this album. And I do have it on CD, so I have heard it numerous times. But it sounds great on vinyl. And when I saw it for very little money indeed, I could not resist getting that. Just show the lineup there. So there's our full lineup with Blasphemer on guitars, of course. Then we've got Apollyon, who does drums and vocals, as well as Aggressor, who contributes to the vocals, but also does the bass. Freaking great stuff. It's just a standard black vinyl, so I shan't bother getting that out. But as I mentioned, Demoniac Flow, another killer track, freaking awesome. I have to admit, one of the real standouts for me is actually the outro, which is just entitled Outro. You can see that down there, which has one of the catchiest, most memorable and infectious riffs I've heard in a long time. It's one of those ones where you hear it once and you're humming it immediately for days afterwards, and then you need to listen to something else that's really catchy because it's just driving you crazy, but in a good way. So the outro is brilliant. Also, should mention there, Cold Bone Grasp, which is another great one as well. Just some freaking good one. Mordant Winds, really good. Short and sweet as well. It's just over half an hour long. Brilliant stuff. If you like, if you like your black and roll kind of style, certainly notable from Dark Throne with albums like Circle the Wagons, for instance. If you like that kind of stuff, or you just like good old traditional speed metal, heavy metal, then you're definitely going to be able to find something that you appreciate here. But this should also be one that would appeal to black metal fans as well, because you've got such pedigree there, brilliant songwriting, production is really good as well. It's just good stuff, absolutely excellent. So Aura Noir with their almost self-titled album, my second recent acquisition there, a freaking great album. So this third purchase, this third double album in fact, is a bit of a weird one because this was a total wild card. I had never heard of this band before. I just saw the artwork and was fairly intrigued, and then did a little bit of background research, checked them out on Spotify, and then ended up ordering Goat Funeral. This is Lucifer, or Lucifer Spirit, 10 Years in the Name of the Goat, the complete works. So this was a compilation, if you like. It was released on Massacre Records. I can't see a year, not that long ago. Essentially celebrating and marking the 10th anniversary of this German black metal band. These members are notable for being in other kind of German bands, projects, but not projects that I'm familiar with. However, this double album contains their, I think it's their sole studio album, full-length album, which I will show off here, which is, I believe it's entitled Bastion Lucifer. Doesn't give me an indication on the disc. Nice white vinyl though. Want to show that off. Very cool. Very neat indeed. So yeah, we've got the full-length album, which I believe is called Bastion Lucifer, although I cannot be entirely sure. Good album. To be honest, this is something that I'm not familiar with, a band that I'm not familiar with or haven't been familiar with prior to making this impulse purchase. So I can't really talk about it as though I know this works inside and out, but show off the inside of this lovely gatefold here. But this is quite caustic, very true, classic black metal, if you like. This is leaning towards the sort of the early period, certainly in that second wave of black metal that rose from Scandinavia primarily, Norway to be more specific. Very much leaning towards that. Think early Immortal, think early Dark Throne, or early Enslaved as well, and that gives you a very good idea. Some cracking tracks actually, I must admit, on that debut album. We've got Bastion Lucifer, which is the title track, and we've got Why I Hate the Fruit, which is another good one. Continuous Fire, Goat Genocide, and the brilliantly titled, well actually I think that's on the compilation side, ignore that, Continuous Fire. Then we've got The Son of the Dying Ones, Song of the Dying Ones rather, Goat Fuck Perversion, some cracking stuff. A little bit misleading because I would instinctively read A, B, C, D, but it's A, B, C, D. Don't matter. Anyway, the second disc, which is also a nice white vinyl, is a compilation of different releases from splits as well. Splits with other bands. Good tracks from those splits include Goat Genocide and Goat Funeral Says Fuck You Please. Another good one. Excellent song title there. Totally makes sense to me. Just good. If you like that good old black metal, if you're looking for something that's not necessarily going to reinvent the wheel, nothing particularly groundbreaking, but just a good take on a really solid and reliable and enjoyable sound and style. Goat Funeral, check it out if you've never heard of Goat Funeral. It is good stuff, I will admit. I probably need to listen to it a little bit more to get my head around it a bit more, but it's good, reliable black metal. Haunting vocals, really nasty, kind of shrieking, banshee-like vocals, some cracking, buzzsaw, fuzzy riffs as well, plenty of blast beats, all the good classic black metal stuff. So Goat Funeral, the complete works, Lucifer Spirit, a good compilation. So this final article then, this is a reissue from, I believe it's this year, from 2023. This is the second album from this band. This was originally released in 1998, I believe. Now this is a band that I've discovered in the last couple of years. Can't be too specific to be honest, but since discovering this band, they've absolutely blown my mind. I absolutely love this band. It's a German band, a fantastic, reliable black metal band with a very symphonic style. So you could say it's symphonic black metal, but there's also an injection of death metal as well, and certainly a very epic nature to this band and to their music. This is Drachenblut from the amazing Mystic Circle. Now, you may remember recently, you may have seen I reviewed their latest album from 2023, Erzdaemon, or Erzdaemon, not quite sure how you pronounce it, but that album is one of the best albums I've heard this year. That is freaking excellent. Absolutely love that. Stunning symphonic black metal with a really theatrical, really epic nature to it. And last year we had, I believe, a self-titled album, which was also an absolute stunner. Check them out. But this album, Drachenblut, which is so cool. That great artwork there on the front. And this is a limited edition of 500 copies, which is 180G Dragon Blue. And I'll get that out in a moment. Just want to show off the artwork there. So we've got the lineup on the back in their full regalia, the full outfits, all armed to the teeth. We've got skulls and chains, all that good stuff. Show off the inside of this stunning gatefold as well. It's a really nice package. I will say that. It's really high quality. This is out through Fire Flash Records, who I believe they're a subsidiary of Nuclear Blast, but I could be totally wrong. For some reason that just sort of came to mind. Inside we've got a nice booklet, nice insert there, really cool stuff. Show that off. I love the fact they're in their full costumes and everything. It just looks great. It's really quite unique stuff, but I love the theatrics of it. I love the sort of epic, grand nature. It really does remind me of the kind of theatrics and aesthetics that we have with like early Dimmu Borgir. Just show off this absolutely divine coloured vinyl. This is so cool. I love this colour. This is like a perfect electric blue. We've got cool stickers on the inside there as well. So cool. It's really high quality. Honestly, cannot overstate the quality of this. So, musical wise then, this album I have listened to a lot lately, and it really does remind me of, although I will say that they are a very unique band. They have their own sound and style, which is still evident in their more recent releases. Bearing in mind this is 25 years rather before their most recent album. And even now, they still sound as they did then, very unique. They've got their sound and style. They have their own identity. But if I was to compare them to anyone else, or try and give you any, at least close comparisons, I would say that they are a blend of Dimmu Borgir, of Cradle of Filth at times, and God Dethroned. That's the kind of epic, grand death metal aspect that I get in there, particularly, and I don't know why, it's mainly in the vocals and also in some of the really crunchy riffs, some of the bulldozing riffs that we get that remind me of God Dethroned, particularly sort of Bloody Blasphemy, or the Grand Grimoire, where I would consider that God Dethroned are a little bit more of a sort of a blackened death metal band. This is more deafened black metal, symphonic, certainly. But just to give you a few comparisons or a few likenesses, if you like Dimmu Borgir, Cradle of Filth, God Dethroned, then you're definitely going to like Mystic Circle, and you're definitely going to like Drachenblut. So, in between each song and preceding the first track, we have essentially like symphonic interludes and introductions. Really beautiful stuff. Really sort of sets the story as well, as it is effectively a concept album around this, I'm going to say sort of folklore or folk story. And I believe it is a German sort of lore or I don't really know what the word is. It's essentially like fairy tale. But it follows that story throughout. But the truly, really killer tracks really do stand out. We've got Dragon Slayer, the third track there. We've got King of the Nibelung Horde. Elsewhere, we've got Shadows over Worms. Blood from the Xantin's King, and Rheingold as well. Absolutely killer tracks, really brilliant, tons of great epic symphonic moments, riffs galore, the vocals are creepy and sinister, but also at the same time they've got power and aggression there. Brilliant stuff. Great blasting drums, prominent bass work, just really good, reliable symphonic black metal. Very grand. This is the sort of stuff where you can put your record on and just completely submerge yourself in this freaking awesome music. Cannot recommend Mystic Circle enough. And also, if you do check it out and you love it, seriously check out those most recent albums, Earth Daemon and Mystic Circle, and probably then do what I did, which is delve right back into their back catalogue, as they have some absolute gems out there. So Drakenblut, tracks to check out. You want to check out Dragon Slayer, absolute killer track. Check out King of the Nibelung Horde. I'm not sure if I'm actually pronouncing that right, so I do apologise if I'm absolutely butchering it. And also probably Shadows Over Worms. That's another standout track for me. But to be honest, the whole thing as a concept, as a story, it flows so brilliantly. It's not overly long either. It's sort of in the region of about 45 minutes, I believe. But it's just worth every moment. A beautiful, beautiful composition. Drakenblut from the great Mystic Circle. So there you have it. These are my 4 latest black metal vinyl finds, my heavy relics. So just to recap, we did just have their Mystic Circle with Drakenblut. Then we've got German, I'm going to say crazy black metal, new discovery for me. Not newcomers, they've been around for a little while, but new discovery for myself. Goat Funeral with the Lucifer Spirit, 10 Years in the Name of the Goat compilation. Double compilation there with their debut album, as well as splits and other bits and pieces. Then we've got the great Aura Noir with their almost self-titled album, a masterpiece of black and speed metal, or black and thrash, black and heavy metal, black and roll, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just seriously good, memorable, catchy metal from some seriously adept musicians. And then, of course, we've got the double album, Demon Noir. I believe this was from 2010, off the top of my head, from 1349, Norwegian black metal war machine that they are. Absolutely killer stuff. Check out these albums if you've not heard them. They are all worth checking out, absolutely. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. What are your thoughts and opinions on these albums, on these bands? Very interested to hear thoughts and opinions of others, of course. Feel free to like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, as always. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations. But take care of yourselves, my friends, and as always, stay heavy.